iridescent pink on the side. Such a pretty fish. Okay, now I'm pumped. Alright, well I think we'll do a quick tackle talk as soon as Goldie stops clanging on the rocks there. Had to make a pretty aggressive tactical change today. I wanted to float fish. I really wanted to do float fishing today. The conditions are almost perfect for it. The current has not been too fast in front of us. We've had some really good runs and really slow current to get into that deep pool beside us. So I know that the float would produce. And actually, a lot of guys are float fishing today, and I did see one guy get one fish. The problem that we're having now, aside from the fact that all of a sudden the water has dropped about 4 feet, the current is sped up, the main problem is that it's minus 10 Celsius out. It's very cold. So I started float fishing, but everything froze up. You know, the slip float is not sliding. So I used a split shot to pin it up high and keep my depth, but the line is freezing up. I just can't present properly. So float fishing is just not in the cards for me. I'm not skilled enough to make that work in such cold temperatures. So I went back to more of an old faithful setup, something I used to do a lot of before I got into the float fishing, and that's just more of a traditional bottom bouncing approach. So basically how that's set up, I'm using a 12.5 foot rod with a spinning reel on here. I think that's an old Shimano reel. And I have 8-pound test mono to just a regular barrel swivel. Now ahead of that barrel swivel I have a little red bead, and that actually plays 2 rolls. And then just ahead of that, sliding on the line, is my weight. This is an 1/8 ounce. I always called them slinkies. Basically they're just split shots tucked in parachute cord, but I have that on a snap swivel. So it's snapped to that so I can change out to a heavier slinky if I want. You know, I have some that are like much heavier, like 1/2 ounce and such. If the current got really fast, or if I moved downriver to somewhere that's a lot deeper, I can just open the snap, change them out. Now that bead, as I mentioned, plays 2 rolls. It's keeping the snap swivel from damaging my knot as it goes to the regular swivel, just the barrel swivel. Also, being red or orange or whatever color I happen to have at the time, it's an initial attractor. So sometimes the fish spots that and it gets their attention. And then I have a really long, this is 8-pound test fluorocarbon, Raven fluorocarbon, maybe 36-40 inches. It's clear water, so I want to make sure that this is away from the lead. But that bead will go by with the lead, and then we're down to about a 3.5 inch white finesse fish, just fished on a Raven octopus hook, size 2, I believe. Very simple tactic, and that's what got me that rainbow. Now, the exact same setup, minus the finesse fish, I actually had an orange bead on here, and that's what I got the sucker on first thing. So, you know, the old bottom back bouncing tactics still work, even in this cold weather. You know, the floats, some of these guys are making it work. I just can't do it. So I'm going with what I know and what I can do in these conditions, and it worked. So I guess now I'm going to fish for a little bit longer and then see what the plan is, because that wind is picking up, and I don't like fishing down here in the wind. It's completely shifted on us, so all the birds that were in close, that usually signifies a good bite in close, they've all pushed away. So I think the fish are going to slow down a bit for at least the next while. But we'll see what we can get, and then if need be, we'll go to another spot, try that for the rest of the day, or just pack it in and you know, start getting things ready for the next outing. But so far, I'm quite happy with how the day's gone. Time to make it better. It'd be awesome if Goldie could catch a fish.
Not my job.
It's not your job. It's not your hobby either. One day, Goldie.
One day.
One day.
That'll teach me to listen to you.
Hold the net, please.
Not as big, but he's got more color to him.
Colors on that one. They're so pretty. The spot. Unbelievable. Well, we're on the move. Very, very productive morning. I'm really, really happy with how that went. It was quite exciting to be able to get 2 trout. I haven't done that in one session in some time now, having kind of stayed away from the trout for a while. But really happy with that. Happy with the sucker I got this morning. You know, overall, tough conditions. I saw one other fish caught while we were there, and one lost, but that was by the same guy. So really, out of everybody that was down there, from what we could see, there was only the 4 bites or 5 bites today. So, you know, in tough conditions like that, I'm really glad that I switched to that tactic that I grew up using, you know, in those early days when I started trout fishing with the bottom bouncing slinky rig. You know, changing the hook bait slightly. I always did that with row bags or single eggs, but, you know, matching an old tactic with a new obviously paid off, and I'm really happy with how that went. So the winter sessions are going to continue. Right now, we're going to go get a bite to eat and warm up and possibly fish the afternoon. Clint actually overslept and didn't join us this morning. He ended up pulling up in the parking lot when we were about to leave, actually. Funny as that sounds. It happens a little bit too much, I think, Clint. Maybe you need to set a better alarm. But he's actually already on the way to our next spot. So after we grab a bite to eat, we're going to meet up with him. We'll look at the water, see what's going on there. And I'm really hoping that that's a spot that's going to be practical to fish, because that spot has browns in it. And I haven't caught a brown trout in quite some time. So I'm really looking forward to the chance, if conditions are going to be right there. We're hoping that the wind is coming from behind us. Then we'll have good water that we can fish. If not, we might have to scope out a few other spots, or just pack it in for the day and, you know, move on to the next session. But yeah, productive winter so far. Really happy with how it's going. And now I'm on the highway, so I need to focus on what I'm doing. I'm speeding.